Hey guys. Anyhow, created great prayers for healing, and so anyhow, the enemy they don't like it. All these people who are in a building are getting paid to watch me, and they're watching me in my apartment. I go to the living room, they do something. I go to the bedroom, go to the bathroom. All this sticking noise. Making all this sticking noise. I go to the washroom, I hear somebody like tapping, like a tick, 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 like, you know, it doesn't happen until I get to the bathroom. I get to the bathroom and it starts. It starts right, maybe within seconds, you know? Yeah. So, yeah, the slaves are hard at work, doing what their master says, you know? Yeah. The master, when they couldn't have you, they will try to destroy your life. When they couldn't get you to come in their side, they will try to enslave you. They try to enslave you and spread all these lies about you and all of that jazz, because they couldn't have you, and that what the enemy is good at. Anyhow, it's life, right? You're dealing with somebody who always had their way in life. These people, yeah, they came and hijacked the earth, hijacked the original rulers of the earth. The original rulers of the earth, they're not white, you know what I mean? They're black, Yeah. And they push them out of there, the elite of earth are black, and then they came and hijacked their throne away from them and replaced their throne. They started whitening them out, they started whitening them out. Yeah, that's true, guys. So anyhow, that's what's happening. These people are demented, clearly, because they are the kind who make your life a living hell if you're like not coming on board with them, and especially if they see something about you they like, they just drool over you. You know what I mean? It's like free dinner. That's what they do. They'll make sure they ruin your life, spread lies, tell people you did this and did that, and because they couldn't have you. Probably go, Ricky. Isn't it that? Yeah. That's like holding a grudge. Women could hold grudges. That's a natural thing for women to hold a grudge, but for a man, I find it very odd. Women are like that. They can't hold grudge for a long time. Except my mother, guys. My mother was not like that. Okay? My mother was sweetest person in the entire universe. She is pure at heart. She doesn't do people wrong. Very giving. and just overall sweet, a good person. She's overall a good person, and these people killed her because of her DNA. Because her DNA, if she had like a worthless DNA, she would be still alive. But because she had the caviar of DNA. That's why they killed her, and they killed her twin sister in California. Yeah, because they want their DNA. You know what I mean? You would not want anything if it's less than you, right? If it was my mother was less, my aunt were less, my dad, and all of them, they'd be still alive, kicking. You know, not because you know what they ruin their own DNA by themselves. When you marry the first cousin, second cousin, you marry close, incest, and all of that, things happen. Your DNA begin to shatter, because why do you think God says He forbid it? All incest happening, God forbid all of that. Because He knows the problems people get when you marry your first cousin, your sister, your brother. Yeah. They want to keep their bloodline pure. Yeah, but then kill other people to perfect their DNA because of what they did to it. They damaged their own DNA, and then they want to correct the damage. You could have corrected it without being marrying into each other, Yeah. That's what's going on. Yeah. They want to stay on top forever, They want to rule the earth forever, That's not gonna happen. You're gonna find out, You think they're gonna hold 144,000 God elect hostage, thinking that the prophecy is not gonna come through. This prophecy clearly talks about all of oppression and slavery and programming and deception. All of that is gonna end. Who said that? God said, the infinite, the creator of the universe says that, and it will happen, So now you're trying to derail and slow us down. It's not gonna change anything, guys. These people are thinking they're gonna change anything. It's not going to change. Absolutely not. And it's only a matter of time, Anyhow, what I want to talk about, it's a little windy, eh? Remember my friend I talked to you about yesterday, and I said to you guys, I used to have this friend of mine. He used to be a nurse. I said to you, I'm Hungary, Romania, and Czech Republic, and I said whatever, whatever, from shitty countries. I'm gonna tell you why I said that. Because I don't want you to think. I don't want you to think that I talk trash about my friends. Oh my God, so loud. Anyhow, I don't talk trash about my friends. We're no longer friends because he did me wrong. He came to visit me in Australia, and excuse me. Yeah, he came to visit me in Australia, and when he came, remember I was telling you about the camel situation. I talked to him about the common situation, how to make we can make money together, and all of that. Because he's a nurse, I thought he could administer the vaccines for these camels, and we'll be able to ship them out. And anyhow, he came, had a good time, and when he was there, he stayed with me at this. I was renting a room. I was telling you. Remember, I told you I moved from that house. I was being attacked to a Chinese house. You know, these people, two Chinese, husband and wife, living together, and they rented a 3-bedroom house. So one of the rooms I was in it, and the other 2 rooms were vacant, and he stayed with me in my room. So before he came, and I talked to the landlord, I said, I'll pay you more, a little bit more while he's here. I'll pay you more rent so he can stay with me. Basically, I gave up my bed, right? And I slept, because my room was carpeted. I got one of these blow-up beds, and I slept on the floor. Because he's my guest. I treated him like my family, how I treat my family. That's who I am. Anyhow, while he was there, he said he wanted to go to Sydney. And I said to him, Theo, it's not on my budget. I'm a student. I cannot just afford to take 4 or 5 days to go to Sydney. I think we went for 4 days, and fly it. And even though we've flown with like a Jetstar, which is a charter airline, it's cheap airline. You can get like return ticket, like maybe $100, But anyhow, and I just said to him, it's not feasible for me to spend this money now and go to Sydney. I've been to Sydney before, and if you wanted to see the Gold Coast, and because I had a car, and we can drive around. Yeah, we can drive around and stuff, and I can go to another city. I took him to places, right? So, just as a student, I cannot just afford to go on vacation, like to another city, pay a hotel, a flight, food, and whatever. So anyhow, he tells me like, oh, it's no problem, I'll pay for it. That's what he said. Anyhow, he says he'll pay for it, and I said, okay, if you are, that's fine. Because when he was with me, I paid for pretty much the accommodation, food, and driving him around, showing him things, stuff like that. So I didn't ask him for money, right? I didn't ask him when he was with me to pay anything. So anyhow, when time came to book the flight, we booked like, Jetstar. I was telling you, it was very cheap to fly with Jetstar. And a hotel, I think we found a motel. It's very reasonable. It was like, the whole thing cost about $800 to $900, I think. That's including flight. I can't remember, it's been so long. But anyhow, when we were going to book the flight, the flight and whatnot, and he tried his credit card. His credit card didn't work. He said that they put a block on. They locked his credit card or something because he didn't tell him he was traveling out of town. And so I said to him, he said, he says, put it in your card. Put it in your card, and I'll pay you when I get to Canada. So anyhow, we went to Sydney. I put everything on my card, and something happened. He had to go back to Canada, whatnot. And when he was there, I've noticed things about him that changed. Like I felt like he was there with a different motive. He was not there to see me. Somebody sent him to see me, you know? Because you know when they hijack your phone and stuff, they know who your friends are because they know your contact list, who you talk to, and from different apps and stuff. So they know who's your closest. So I felt he's working for the enemy, you know. So anyhow, to get back to the story, I was talking to him about stuff, and I told him about my targeting. He didn't seem to be shocked when I told him about my targeting. He seemed like to know. He knew about it, you know, because he never really questioned it. He never acted like concerned or any of that. You know, if somebody telling you something as serious as that in there, you show no care whatsoever. You act like, you know, he's familiar with the whole thing. Anyhow, I'm not gonna deviate from this and whatnot. But anyhow, he flew back to Canada, and so I said to him, I messaged him and I said, I hope you arrive home okay and stuff. He didn't reply, and so I was like, okay. I messaged him again a couple of times. I was checking on him and stuff. If everything is okay, whatnot. It was nice seeing you and all of that jazz. And no reply whatsoever. So anyhow, he went on. You know, it's been like maybe almost a month or 3 weeks or whatever. No reply whatsoever, you know. I said, oh, yeah, I'll be okay, you know. It was like something happened, what's going on, you know. He did not reply. Anyhow, I waited a bit over a month. And then at that point, I said, okay. Because I know he was going through time with his ex-wife. He was going through something with his ex-wife, and so anyhow, so at that point I started to get annoyed, and I said,
what? You want to be active?
Yeah.
You have to be active. Be motivated.
Yeah. Anyhow, this guy shouting at somebody. Anyhow, they're fighting. Anyhow, so at that point I said to him, you know what? Obviously, I don't know what's going on, but I just need you to send me the money that I put on my card because I really needed. I took it out of my student expense to pay for this, and we had an agreement, and now I'm not haven't heard from you and what's going on, whatnot. Anyhow, no reply whatsoever. So that's why I said to you, he's from a shitty country. You know what I'm saying? Yesterday when I was recording the video, that's why I said what I said. Because I remembered what he did to me, you know. But she's no longer a friend. I remember I used to have a friend. Used to, past tense, no longer friends. You know, if he show up in my life today and told me, here your money, I'm not gonna take it. You know? I'm not gonna take it. You know why? Because it's done. I don't want to rehash things or deal with him. You know? And besides, he was working for the enemy, obviously. He was sent there to Australia about something. Anyhow, That's why I said that. I said he's Amish from that, you know. So now you understand he did me wrong. That's why I said what I said. So I'm not like bad mouthing him, telling, oh, you know, because I was thinking like, oh, he talked trash about his friends. What kind of person he is, right? No, we're no longer friends. He did this little, you know, scam artist situation, you know, and you know, Hungary, Romania, and those countries are big on scamming. Look it up statistically, you know. Anyhow, and when he was with me, I paid for a lot of stuff, you know, because he's my guest. He came to visit me all the way from Canada. That's what you do. You treat a friend as a friend. I treat him like family. And it just bothers me how he ended it with this little BS situation, you know? And I'm going to tell you something else. How close we were. We were very close. We were very good friends. And anyhow, he moved from the States to Canada. And when he moved to Canada, yeah, excuse me. Yeah, when he moved from the States from Canada to Canada, and I remember he was looking for a job and stuff, and he was still studying for his license in nursing and whatnot. And so he got this job in a home care facility or something. It was not a hospital; it was a home care facility, I think. So anyhow, he this job that he got, it requires him to have a car, because I think it was like an hour away or something. He was had to travel so far to get to work, and so anyhow, at this point I knew him for almost a year. Well, we hung out, we did things and whatnot. So he called me one time and he goes, oh, you know, I want to go up, I want to buy a car, but I haven't been in Canada long enough. I don't have a credit history to be approved for this car. So he tells me, oh, there's too much to ask. They told me if I get a co-signer who could co-sign the car, it would be approved. Somebody with a good credit, you know. So I thought about it for a second. Honestly, I didn't even hesitate. I thought about it for a quick second. This not even, because he's my friend. I've been known for this long, and he treated him like family, right? So I said to him, sure. What dealership? So he tells me like, okay. So I went with him to a dealership, and I went and co-signed the car for him, you know, because at that time I was working, I was making good money and whatnot. I had good credit, financially I was stable, you know. So I met him at the dealership and I signed up on the car for 5 years lease, 5 years, and honestly, he's like, we were very close. So anyhow, just to tell you, I'm a good friend. I am somebody. If you were to have me as your friend, you landed on a pot of gold. You got lucky. Okay? Because I'm that kind of friend. You call me like 2-3 o'clock in the morning, come pick me up, do this, you know, let's hang out, let's do this, you know, let's drive me somewhere, you know, you're stranded. I'm that kind of friend, you know, who would get up out of bed, get dressed, and go and pick you up and drive you whatever, you know. I was like that, you know. And then he did that. So anyhow, that's why I said what I said about him being from a shitty country. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what I felt yesterday when I said it. Because I felt I was done wrong. And so anyhow, I don't know. Would you do that? Just question for you guys. Would you run on a bill or on a bill that owed for $900 or $800? Meanwhile, on someone who actually co-signed a car for you, right? So just that kind of tell you, you know what I mean? This targeting shows you the true colors of these people, you know, used to think they're friends. Because I told you, I've noticed some things about him when he was there visiting. I felt like he's not forthcoming. He was different, you know? I understand people change, right? No, it's not was not that the kind of different. It was the different like make you question the motive, you know, for him to come to Australia to visit. Yeah, that's the story, guys. So anyhow, I don't think I want anything to do with him. If he show up in my life now and telling me I'm gonna pay that money, thank you. I don't want anything from you. I don't want from you to get the hell out of my life, you know. So anyhow, so that was going on, guys. Don't let people do you wrong. Don't let people do you wrong, and be perceptive, or you know, people in true intentions, you know, because people will come bite you, stab you in the back, and bite you in the hand that feed you. You know what I mean? You know, that's reality. That's how I feel. I feel I did nothing but right, and he did that. Anyhow, enough negative talk, you know. But anyhow, that's what I'm. Just that why I'm clarifying why I said shitty country. I still stand by what I believe. Hungary, Romania, and all of those countries are known for scam artists. It's not me, according to Google. You know what I'm saying? So anyhow, so to be expected, you know. But I did not expected that because we known each other for a long time. Anyhow, that's all I want to talk about, you know, guys. Here you have it.